following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Welcome to the Morgan Man Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Stacy Cole Morgan. Here on the Morgan Man Sports Podcast, we talk Atlanta Falcons news, pre-game predictions, and all other news surrounding the Atlanta Falcons.
Touchdown, Atlanta!
Also on the podcast, we talk Call of Duty League, esports, covering Roster Mania, major predictions, COD champs, player trades, and much more to get you ready for every single CDL weekend.
Scuff goes through, and Scuff snaps, wins the one-on-one, and Optic with the reverse sweep.
If that sounds good with you, put on your Falcons jersey, grab your gaming headset, and let's get the show started. What is going on, you guys? I'm your host, Stacy Cole Morgan, and you are listening to the Morgan Man Sports Podcast here on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Good Pod HQ, or wherever you find your preferred podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about the 53-man roster breakdown for the Atlanta Falcons. And guys, let me tell you, a lot of cuts were made, and I hate it for these guys that did not make the roster. Hopefully they end up somewhere else on a team, or at least on the Falcons practice squad. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do in the NFL, and this is one of them, to get rid of someone's hopes and dreams of making it in the NFL. And for the people that has been laughing about it in the past of like, I knew that player wasn't going to be making it in the NFL, he's a piece of shit, whatever like that, you know, man, just that's someone's job. It really is. And you don't want no one to like brag about you losing your job, okay? Because you just wouldn't like it. And so it's like with Jalen Mayfield. Now, yes, I disagree with Jalen Mayfield being an Atlanta Falcon. I really do. But the man does not deserve to be jobless, okay? He might not fit well with the Falcons coaching staff right now, but let's just say he goes to, I don't know, the San Francisco 49ers, just for example, okay? He balls out there. That's great for him. I'm glad he's balling out. Then people are like, well, you know, it's Kyle Shanahan, blah, blah, blah. Well, at least he does have a job, okay? He is still living his NFL dream. So if you are one of those people that are hyped that a certain player got cut, just sit there and realize that this was their job, this was their dreams and hopes, and you do not want that to happen to you. So just please do keep that in mind. So going over the Atlanta Falcons 53-man roster, we will be starting with offense. So the Atlanta Falcons, along with every other NFL team, has made a lot of transactions this past Tuesday in an effort to get the required 53-player roster for the regular season. And again, it is sad to see so many guys back on the street, and will be interesting to see who ends up on practice squads and so forth. So the Falcons are pretty much set for September 10th when we host the Carolina Panthers week 1 in the Benz. So again, going off with offense first, we're starting with the quarterbacks. So Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke, and Logan Woodside definitely made the cut. No surprise there. Looks like Logan Woodside is the third string quarterback, Taylor Heineke is second, and of course Desmond Ridder is your starting quarterback, and that's been confirmed already way ahead of camp. But going into training camp and really up until the preseason, everyone was expected to see just two quarterbacks on the final roster, Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke. However, the Falcons did watch Logan Woodside play clean and efficient football. To say Woodside looked impressive would be an understatement. He looked poised, was accurate, made good decisions, and most of all, he was able to maneuver the pocket like a 10-year veteran. The new emergency quarterback rule also made this an easy decision for the team, as they will get to dress three quarterbacks, with one of them not counting against the active player limit. Essentially, they will have an extra player ready for game action in the event that they are needed. So again, this is great news for basically all NFL teams to have that extra quarterback available when needed. You could throw in Logan Woodside as like kind of like a almost like a decoy almost, because Desmond Ritter could possibly catch something, run a route, just whatever. Just throwing out examples right here. I'm not in charge of the playbook. So that is good right there for the quarterbacks, but it was expected. Going into the running backs and fullbacks, Bijan Robertson, Tyler Algier, Cordell Patterson, and Keith Smith all made the cut right there. Of course, you definitely want your, 8th overall pick. Yeah, 8th overall pick, I believe it was, or 14th overall to, make the starting roster, because if not, there is something terribly wrong with the player or the coaching staff one. But all 4 of these players were essentially locks to make the final roster to begin with. Bijan, Tyler, Cordell make up the best 3-headed monster in the NFL, while Keith Smith can be a good blocker and a special teamer. Going to wide receivers, you got 5 right here. Drake London, Mac Hollins, Scotty Miller, Cardell Hodge, if I'm pronouncing it right, and Josh Alley. Drake London, Mac Hollins, Scotty Miller, Cardell Hodge were all primed to make the roster, while there was heated battle for 1 or 2 spots left at the position. It is surprising to see that the Atlanta Falcons kept 5 receivers instead of 6 after his final preseason game. It looked like J.J. Arcega, Whiteside would make the roster because of his size and ability to play at tight end. However, the way the roster is set up, the Falcons can't afford to have only 5 receivers. Kyle Pitts, Jonas Smith, Cordell Patterson, and Bijan will all play some receiver roles. Tight ends, of course, you got 4 right here. You got Kyle Pitts, Jonas Smith, Michael Pruitt, and John Fitzpatrick. Tight end, along with the running backs, will be very important position for the Atlanta Falcons. So thankfully, they are pretty deep at this position. The question mark at the position came with the 4th tight end spot. Personally, I was convinced that John Fitzpatrick would make the roster. This has nothing to do with how he played, but rather the loyalty Arthur Smith has towards Parker Hesse, or Hesse, if I'm pronouncing this right. Hesse's versatility was a big reason why I expected him to make the final roster, but it is clear that the upside of Fitzpatrick was too good to risk losing. To their credit, the Falcons made the right decision. Offensive line, you got 9. Jake Matthews, Matthew Bergeron, Drew Dalman, Chris Lindstrom, Caleb McGarry, Josh Miles, Ryan Newsel, if I'm pronouncing that right, Kyle Hinton, and again, I'm butchering a lot of names here, Javalgan Gwyn, if I'm pronouncing that right, Gwyn, and the first name Jovaghn. The starting 5, especially after Matt Hennessy's injury, was never in doubt. They're a strong unit that should have no problem moving defenders around. And of course, everybody knows, Jalen Mayfield is no longer with us. I did not like that guy, but hey, it is what it is, and you can't do nothing about it. So looking at some defenses right here, of course, you got your normal starters: Grady Jarrett, Calais Campbell, AJ Terrell, Jesse Bates III. I mean, it's all of them. So the defense is pretty solid right here. There was a few surprises. I don't have the full list right in front of me, but of course, them guys obviously made the cut. And Jeff Okudah is still on the main roster. Would like to still see him in practice, and maybe here in the season just a little bit. But he's definitely gonna have to earn them reps, because again, he did not play a single preseason snap. And that's what you get right there. I hate that he's injured, and I would have loved to see Jeff Okudah out there. But, when you're injured, you're not going to be able to play for a long time. And then when you do come back, you are going to have to earn that roster spot, pretty much. So, guys, what do you think of the offense 53-man roster? Me personally, I love it. It's about accurate. It really is. It's about as accurate as you're going to get. Again, I hate that a lot of these players are losing their jobs, but hey, it is what it is in the NFL. Hopefully they will find new homes to go to here in the NFL and succeed, or if not, they can rely on their degree and get them a job with what they did major in, and everything just works out for the best. But still, this is their hopes and dreams of playing in the entire National Football League. So guys, that was the offense. I know I didn't cover much into the defense, but the offense has definitely been a huge question mark going into the season. Like, who's going to be playing who, or who's going to be in this ranked order right here. But overall, the defense I think is pretty solid right now. But again, this offense definitely has a question mark. So who's going to be in what position battles, and now we know. And this offense definitely looks poised to score a lot of points and just run this ball very, very heavy. Like, Desmond Ridder is not going to have to do much, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, he's got a full running back room. He's got a full tight end room that's really going to carry him. And of course, I know you're going to have to throw to tight ends, but with how Arthur Smith specifically designs this offense, tight ends are running backs as well. And again, Desmond Ridder is not going to have to be like Tom Brady level. He's just going to have to make a few, complete passes here and there to his tight ends or wide receivers. But really, outside of that, again, this run game is what's going to be heavy. This entire Falcons offense reminds me of the Georgia Bulldogs, pretty much, with them being a run-heavy team. You are throwing to the tight end for most of your targets. Sometimes your wide receivers if it's open man, but mostly it's your tight ends who are big and strong, like Kyle Pitts, and then for Georgia, I want to say it's Ladd McConkey, if I'm getting that right. So yeah, I mean, it's astonishing to see that this Falcons roster is like a Georgia Bulldogs offensive roster as well, where you got your tight ends and running backs just being absolutely dominant. So, but yeah, football is back, baby. It really is. I'm super excited for the entire season, for not just Atlanta Falcons, but gosh dang, college football as well. I'm going to be watching more college football this season. I'm not going to be talking much about it because I don't really keep up with college that much, but it does keep me excited to see like the fans and the interaction. And actually, I will be going to my very first game this Saturday. So tomorrow, after you were hearing this podcast on the original Friday upload, be down in Sanford Stadium, of course, in my hometown, Athens, to watch the Dogs in their home opener take on against UT Martin at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, football's back, baby. I'm loving it. Plenty of games to watch now throughout the weekend, especially this weekend. Again, Georgia, UT Martin, Colorado, TCU. Oh my gosh, Florida State versus LSU. I mean, there's big names. Well, Georgia and UT Martin's not going to be like a main attraction, but still, Florida State, LSU, Colorado, TCU. I mean, it's perfect. Really is. So, guys, what do you think of the Falcons' offensive side of the ball for the 53-man roster? Do you think the Atlanta Falcons did get it right? Was there some positions here that was questionable to you, or did the wrong person get cut? But guys, next week's episode, we are talking week 1 action against the Carolina Panthers with the spread, the odds, the whatevers to get you ready for game day that Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, September 10th, the day before 9/11. So, guys, hope you all enjoy, and if you did, make sure to like button wherever you are listening from. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Make sure to leave me a 5-star rating on there, guys. It tremendously helps this podcast grow. Share this with your friends, family. Make sure to buy some t-shirts as well. Do it. It definitely also supports the podcast as well to buy some t-shirts and spread the word at your local grocery store, gas station, wherever you are at. But until then, guys, I am Cole Morgan. We'll catch you all later. Peace.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.